Guys, before this video starts, I want to tell you about this sick website that sells hella cheap NBA jerseys. The website is ringchasers.com. I copped myself a few jerseys on there a while back, and I honestly don't know how their prices are this cheap. If you guys want to get a sick deal on a jersey, make sure you check them out. Link will be in the description, and use code LQG at checkout for an extra 10%. What's going on, guys? It's LQG, and today I'm back with another video. So today we have for you guys NBA Legends pick their starting fives for the 1960s. So we've already done the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. And if you haven't seen those videos, they will be linked in the description below, so you can check those out after you watch this one. Now, for those that don't know, the way this works is a bunch of NBA legends are going to pick their starting five, what starting five they would run with from the 1960s. So from 1960 to 1969. Make sure to let me know down in the comments below which legend you think had the best starting five and also what your starting five would be. Also, make sure you guys smash the like button. Let's see if we get 100 likes on this video. And make sure you guys subscribe to the channel to catch all the new content. We're releasing daily videos for all of 2021, so make sure you don't miss out. With that being said, let's get into NBA Legends pick their starting fives for the 1960s.
We're going to start with the 1960s, and we want the starting five for the decade of the 1960s. So I'll kind of spark the conversation. We're going to go position by position. But maybe you can tell me, Isaiah, as a child of the 60s, do you remember who was the first guy you kind of idolized or watched in the 60s and that possibly played the point guard position that you said, hey, that's the guy?
Well, it was Cousy. It had to be Cousy. And it's interesting, the 60s, the Celtics was really one of the first teams to integrate. So everyone in my family and around, the community, we were Celtics fans because they had all the brothers. My father and my mother was like, hey, you got to root for the Celtics because, they breaking down racial barriers and everything else. And even though we were in Chicago, the Celtics were the team they told us to root for. And so when we went outside and played basketball and you ran a fast break, they would call it a Boston. And also we rooted for the St. Louis Cardinals in baseball because of Bob Gibson.
Wow!
So those were the two teams that we rooted for. So
some good stories from
So Cousy was
the
the
60s.
Cousy was the guy at the point guard position at that time.
Where was Oscar Robertson?
I was gonna say I didn't see him play, but for my family it was always Oscar Robertson.
Yeah.
Oscar Robertson. So I would take Oscar at the point.
When you talk about Oscar Robertson, I was on a panel with Oscar Robertson and Jerry West in Los Angeles. And to hear Jerry West and to see Jerry West talk about Oscar Robertson, and I never forget, he moved up and he was like, look, I know I'm the logo and everything else. He said, but in my era, there was no better basketball player than Oscar Robertson.
Amen.
And Oscar was sitting right there.
Right.
And Oscar said, you right, Jerry.
You're right. That's how it was.
And to that point, we applaud LeBron James, all these guys getting triple doubles, and you look back then with Oscar, how he averaged a triple double for a whole season. Yeah. With all the technology we have today, they didn't have the ankles, the MRI, all the stuff we have now. They didn't have back then, and Oscar Robertson was consistent for a whole season that way.
Well, it's funny too, because a period of time I was getting a lot of triple doubles, and I saw him in '97 in Cleveland, where they had the 50 greatest players, and they honored them there. And he said, "Young fella, what you're doing is impressive, But I did it the whole season."
Not only that, Grant. If you look at Oscar's numbers, if you take his first 5 years playing for Cincinnati, over his first 5 seasons of his professional career, he averaged a triple double. 5 seasons. One season statistically he did it, but if you average the first 5 seasons, he did it.
And in the 60s, he averaged, 29, 10 assists, and 8.5 rebounds in the decade of the 60s. Shaq, if you had to name the starting center for that 60s team, and you're looking at Russell and Chamberlain and Bellamy, Willis Reed was playing for the Knicks back in the 60s.
Well, Wilt Chamberlain was indeed the most dominant player ever, but I was taught, from guys like Isaiah and guys like Mike that it's all about the championships. So Bill Russell has 11 championships. That will never ever be matched again. I think the closest to that is Mike with 6. So I'll probably have to go with Bill Russell on that.
We cannot throw out what Wilt. Wilt is Wilt. Obviously he didn't win championships, but I'm with Shaq. You go with winners, because Bill Russell won so much, but when you start saying which would you start a team with, it's hard to go against the Big Dipper. It's hard to go against him.
So who would we take for our point guard for the 60s? Oscar Robertson?
Oscar.
Who we go with our two guard? Sam Jones, Jerry West, Al Greer. Jerry West is hard to go against.
You the logo.
Jerry West.
Jerry for sure.
Small forward.
Elgin
Baylor.
Elgin buckets.
And while we're doing our starting five, probably if the best six man would be John Havlicek. But power forwards.
I'm moving Russell to power forward and making Wilt
Reggie,
center.
you and me are on the same page because I'll put Wilt. I can put Wilt Chamberlain
the
anywhere.
best five of the decade.
Yeah.
So I'm going with my best five. My best five.
No matter what position.
My best
You
five.
make the rules as you go. That's
Wait, hold on.
You can do your own thing.
I was told your best five of the decade. My best five of that decade is Oscar, Jerry, Wilt, Elgin, and Russ.
Okay, that's fine. That's
But
fine.
you can't.
And we'll all fly on one plane when we leave here, and you can fly on your own. That's fine.
You can't take Bill Russell and say, "Hey, you my power forward." Hey, tell him that. Go tell Shaq right now. Hey, Shaq, I'm gonna move you to power forward. You're not the center no more.
If you don't move Russ to the four, then who's your power forward?
I got to go Big Bob.
Bob Pettit.
Baby.
Yep.
Bob Pettit.
Yeah, Petty. Yeah.
All right. So we've got an Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, Elgin Baylor, Bob Pettit.
Under Reggie rules, though, I might have Bill at the point.
Oh, now you're
I mean, we're going, Bill, Pettit. I think go
going with my
big.
best five. Let me see what y'all's five are. I'm going with my best
Bill
five.
at the point.
Bill Garden, Tuesday.
If we're not using the Reggie rule, who's your center? Is it Wilt or is it Bill?
I got to go Big Bill.
Give me Bill here.
Bill.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Watch this.
4.5. Here's the only way I can settle that. Our center for the 60s is Bill Chamberlain.
So that's it for this video, guys. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure you leave a like and also subscribe to the channel. Like I said at the beginning, we're releasing daily videos for all of 2021, so you don't want to miss out. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Thank you guys for watching and have a great day.